What's up, guys? How you doing? This is a weird one. I've been watching movies the last. I've been on YouTube reviewing movies now since what? Like 2017. I started my channel. We maybe started doing the movie thing in 2018. Okay, talking about Star Wars, talking about all this Marvel stuff, talking about all this DC stuff. Some of it's been good. A lot of it's been bad. And I honestly want to say that I forgot like how good movies could be. I'm jumping to the conclusion, but I just saw Across the Spider-Verse, and it's like something broke inside my brain. I was like, oh, this is what movies are. I mean, I think about all the Marvel like trash I've been seeing recently. I went to see that Ant-Man 3. Doctor Strange was not good. Thor: Love and Thunder was not good. I've seen all that stuff and a couple other movies here and there, whatever else. Mostly the superhero stuff though, because I find it interesting. I want to see good superhero movies, and I'm watching them, and I keep going, what's wrong? Something's missing. You know, Ant-Man 3 was one that was like a huge disappointment. I'm like, what is this? There's no magic here. There's no spark. I don't feel anything. This feels written by a robot. And I think part of me was just like, well, that's just movies, man. You know, it's you waste some time. There's really no point in seeing movies. They're all stupid. And then I go and I see Across the Spider-Verse and I go, oh yeah. Why have I been watching so much trash? Now let's be clear. It is my fault that I have been choosing to consume trash, because there are other movies out there. I was recently on a plane. I watched the Steven Spielberg movie, The Fabelmans. And that was another one where I went, oh yeah, movies are good. I forgot there's good, cool movies out there. But Across the Spider-Verse is one that like has just literally shattered my existence. Honestly, as I was watching it, I went, I don't even see any point in being a critic. I don't see any point in critiquing it. This is literally as close to a perfect piece of art as I've seen in a long time. I have some people who are mad at me. I went on Twitter and I said, this quite possibly is the greatest comic book movie of all time. People go, what are you talking? You're just what? And don't you know that it's woke and it has a black lady and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, this is quite possibly the greatest superhero movie I've ever seen. It's definitely top 10 animated films of all time. Now, maybe that's a personal judgment, because there's a lot in this film that speaks to me personally. As someone who has a background in graphic design, in art, and that sort of thing, the visual spectacle of this movie completely blew my mind. The action scenes are phenomenal. The pace, the shots, like things are so frantic and crazy, and the camera's swooping around in a way that only animation could ever accomplish. I don't know how you'd ever make a live action movie like this. And maybe they'll, I guess with CG, maybe they could try. But just the energy and the visuals are all gorgeous, and it reeks with visual style at every moment. And not just one visual style, is that it changes styles depending on which characters from which universe, but it all somehow fits together, and it never feels disjointed. Or when it feels disjointed, it feels disjointed in such a cool way. I mean, to give an example, you know, they use portals to travel between the Spider-Verse, right? And for most of the movie, they're all using these, crazy sci-fi looking portals. And then, spoiler alert, and this will probably have some spoilers, so just be aware. At one point, a character, the Spider-Punk, invents his own portal technology, and his portals, instead of being sci-fi whatever portals, look like torn pieces of paper that are spinning around like an old 80s punk album. A bunch of like torn newspaper and Andy Warhol graffiti. Just small little touches like that where you go, how was this movie possibly made by human beings? Like, did they just go to the animators and tell them, go absolutely nuts? Who coordinated this? How do you coordinate this? So many different visual styles and visual touches, and I think they might have just told the animators, you are a talented individual, run goddamn wild. And that's what happened. I have to say, this movie, I have to remind people, this movie is written by Miller and Lord. Miller and Lord, if you don't know their history, Lego Movie, 21 Jump Street, Han Solo movie, which you can say was bad, but they didn't get to finish directing it. Ron Howard came in to screw that up. And one of my all-time favorites, Clone High. I don't know if you've watched that animated show. It is now available on, not HBO Max, it's now on Max. It's finally back. These guys are probably the best writers in Hollywood as far as I'm concerned. I don't think there's anyone who has mastered the art of Hollywood storytelling the way that Miller and Lord have. Not just the art of storytelling, but also comedy. Again, Clone High is a very important show to me and is responsible for a lot of my comedic humor. I was obsessed with that show growing up. And you see that same kind of irreverent humor that, again, you saw in the Lego movie, that you saw in 21 Jump Street, here in the Spider-Verse. Now, I have a theory that I talk about, and it's the idea that people love funny characters. Not all characters have to be funny, but one of the reasons I think Spider-Man is such a popular and beloved character is that he has a little bit of humor. And I think it's a lot like, I always talk about Japanese manga is a good example. If you read something like Naruto, or obviously something like One Piece, these are very comedic stories with comedic characters. But then when the action turns on and they're suddenly, they're put at risk or their family's put at risk, you really feel connected to them because you've been laughing along with them. Rick and Morty does this as well. Rick and Morty is a funny, wild, out there show, but then when it gets serious and the characters seem to be in real trouble, you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize how attached I am to these characters. And that's how Across the Spider-Verse kind of goes, is I feel more attached to the characters in this movie than so many other of these failed superhero experiments, which, again, the humor did not land. I'm thinking about, let's say, again, Doctor Strange, whatever, Multiverse of Madness. Good example, another multiverse movie. But I don't feel connected to Doctor Strange because the humor in that movie was not great. In a way, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm here for it, whatever else. But because Across the Universe nails the comedy, it actually is genuinely funny and I'm laughing along with it, I feel this deep connection to Miles Morales. And I feel this deep connection to all the supporting cast as well. A lot of this movie is focused on Spider-Woman, Gwen, from the previous movie. And again, she's having fun. She has a funny opening sequence where she gets lost, playing the drums and quits her band or whatever else. And you feel connected to this character because they are a little bit lighthearted, but there's I don't know, some emotion there that gets you. I felt connected to everybody. Peter Parker, let's be real, is hilarious. Shows up in his bathrobe. He's got his daughter, May, now, and he's cracking little jokes, and he's so excited that he has a kid. And I feel so deeply connected to that character. It feels like, an old friend. So that when I see them hurting, and they're hurting on Miles' behalf, Miles is betrayed in the movie, told that something horrible will happen to his family member. And not only is he feeling things, but when I see that register on the face of his friends, on Gwen, on Peter, I feel it. I felt so much during this movie. Now, it's possible, I don't know, maybe I'm just a big baby and I get emotional at these movies. I could not stop. I thought this movie was so beautiful, and all the characters, I felt so connected to them that I didn't want anything bad to happen to them. They felt like my friends. I was a part of the I'm like, don't let anything bad happen to my boy Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. I think about, you remember in Endgame when little Peter Parker turns into dust? I don't know about you. I cried like a baby. I was like, no, don't take away my Spider-Man. And that's kind of how I felt watching this movie. I was like, I don't want anything bad to happen to these characters. These are good people who are going through some terrible emotional trauma. And the characters experience different emotional traumas in this movie. Miles is dealing with the fact that, all his friends from the previous movie are missing. Gwen is dealing with the fact that her father thinks she's a murderer. Everyone is dealing with loss and whatever else. And I feel this connection. And that's the magic. That's movie magic. Movie magic is when you can show me a character and you can get me to form a bond with that character to the point where I am genuinely rooting for them to succeed. And I think that's been a big problem with Marvel. It's been a big problem with Star Wars. It's been a big problem with all of these franchise films, is that we don't feel connected to these characters. They still feel like characters. They feel like people on a screen who have been given stupid, witty, one-liner banter. Okay? And it doesn't come across real. It comes across as forced. It comes across as fake. And somehow in an animated movie where we know the characters are fake, they're god dang cartoons, The dialogue and the writing and the emotion and the humanity and the jokes, it feels real. I felt a genuine connection to Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse. I'll say this, I don't want this to go too long, but my honest to God hope, because apparently this movie is doing fantastic. Let me say two things. Okay, first thing I want to say is all the critics out there, because there are critics right now who goes, Miles Morales is not really Spider-Man. He's just a black version of Spider-Man that they're forcing on us for diversity's sake. I hate you. Anyone saying that is a idiot. He is a character onto himself. He has his own style. He has his own personality. Saying he's just a black Peter Parker is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And anyone who goes into this movie and comes out of it and does not feel the magic, does not feel connected to this Miles Morales character, frankly, I don't think you're in any position to be reviewing media whatsoever, because you have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe that sounds harsh, but some of the rhetoric I'm seeing out there about, it's not, Miles Morales is not even really a good character. It should have been Peter Parker. Shut up. You're an idiot. Second thing I'm going to say, I really hope, because this movie seems to be cleaning up at the box office. I went in on a Tuesday, normally not a big day for movies, and my theater wasn't packed. It is still Tuesday, but there was an entire line of teenage kids, and they were all very excited. They were having a great time. Theater was like midway full, which is great for a Tuesday. I'm hoping word of mouth gets out there and this movie cleans up, because here's what needs to happen. We know that this live-action Spider-Man villain universe with Morbius and whatever else is just falling apart. It's a waste of everyone's time. We don't want Morbius. They're going to do a Kraven the Hunter movie. I'm pretty sure it's going to suck. Maybe it won't, but here's what should happen. Give Miller and Lord the keys to the kingdom. These guys are geniuses. They're geniuses. You should put them in charge of an animated Spider-Man universe. Maybe I'm ruining this thing by saying I want to expand it out and force a bunch of sequels, but they're going to do it anyway. Let's be clear. They're going to milk Spider-Man. Sony has Spider-Man. No matter what, they're going to milk that spider. And if anyone's going to be in charge of milking it, it should be Miller and Lord. If anything, if you need to do the live-action villain verse, put them in charge of that. These guys are absolute geniuses. They should have the job that James Gunn has at DC, the job that Kevin Feige has at Marvel. They should be your in-house, locked down, steward, keepers of the flame, whatever else, and have complete creative control over this universe you're building. Sony, I know you're the cheapest motherfuckers out there. You don't want to spend money on anything, but this would have a return. This could be what gives you an actual Spider-Man universe that people are going to be excited about. Morbius is not going to do that, okay? Miller and Lord can get it done. So, guys, what can I say? Honestly, and if anyone wants to argue with me about it, I hate you. Shut up. You're wrong. This is a 10 out of 10 movie. Here's what some people are going to complain. It ends on a cliffhanger. It does not wrap up the story. But I'm not bothered by that. I'm a guy who goes, great! Oh my God, it ends on a cliffhanger. I can't wait to see where it's going to go. I'm so excited for the next part. If you're a person who hates cliffhangers, okay, I get it. But I don't know. I'm just excited to see more. I have no problem with a cliffhanger ending. Again, it is quite possible. I'm racking my brain as to what the great superhero movies for me would be like the first Iron Man, the Batman movie from what's his name? The Michael Keaton Batman. All that's great. Dark Knight, sure. I honestly think this might be the best superhero film I've ever seen. I have never felt this much emotion, this much passion for these characters. I have never been, and I'm not even a Spider-Man guy. I have never loved Spider-Man. This is the first time that I went, oh God, do I love Spider-Man? Am I like a big Spider-Man guy now? I kind of want to go out, buy all the Miles Morales comics. I'm told the comics aren't as good as the animation, but who knows? 10 out of 10 movie. No movie is perfect, okay? Maybe, I don't know if I said perfect movie, but let's say this is as close to perfection as you're ever going to get. This movie was phenomenal. I'm blown away. I'm sure I'm going to see it again, and I really hope you guys see it as well. I hope the dumbasses at Disney who are screwing up all these franchises and all these other, terrible writers in Hollywood, I hope they also go to see it and go, oh, that's what writing is. I forgot how to do that. I hope that's what happens. We will see. Well, guys, please let me know in the comments. Did you see this movie? Do you agree? Am I going over the top? Am I too excited about this movie? Did I take a bunch of drugs before I went into the theater and they're going to wear off? And I'm going to go, it wasn't that good. I don't think I did. Maybe I'm high on all that delicious buttered popcorn, but I genuinely loved this movie. Maybe I'm crazy. Anyway, guys, if you're comic fans, if you love comics, I really want, real quick, please, if you can consider taking a look over on Indiegogo. This is my first ever graphic novel, Super Killer #1, when there is only 25 days left to get your copy of this awesome graphic novel. It's a story completely written by me. If you like my channel, if you like my comedy, I think you're going to love this character. I think you're going to love what we've put together. It's a hilarious, dark, superhero comedy, tons of action, tons of sexy women, and even a little robot that swears and shoots missiles and cool stuff like that. Please check it out. There's a link in the description. Super Killer #1. I really hope you guys will check it out and help me get to 1,000 backers. We're at 762. We got to get to 1,000 before the end of the month, guys. Let's make it happen. Leave your comments in the description or down below. Let me know what you thought. Peace and love, and definitely go watch Across the Spider-Verse. I can't. Anyone who doesn't like this movie has holes in their brain. Something is wrong with them. Come on.